Four people who kidnapped and battered a so-called friend in a honey trap plot were described as animals as they were jailed. Daniel Aston, 33, and his then-girlfriend Shannon Warleater, 30, Stephen Baker, 61, and his son Matthew Baker, 29, targeted charity worker Anthony Cooper over £150 debt. They also disproved of his relationship with another woman. The group used Warleater as bait to set Mr. Cooper up before dragging him from the street and subjecting him to a brutal attack, which lasted longer than 4 hours. On Tuesday, July the 8th, at Birmingham Crown Court, all four were sentenced to immediate imprisonment by Judge Dean Kershaw. He told them this was a cowardly, planned and vile attack, with you all attacking as animals on a vulnerable man. Aston, of no fixed address, was sentenced to 5 years and 8 months, having admitted kidnap, robbery and unlawful wounding. Warleater, of Orchard Way in Trowbridge, Wiltshire, received 2 years and 10 months after pleading guilty to kidnap and unlawful wounding. Stephen Baker of Runcorn Road, Walsall Heath, and Matthew Baker of Tynedale Road, Tyseley, were both jailed for 3 years and 9 months for confessing to the same 2 offences. A fifth man, David Bambro, 41, of Anderton Park Road, Moseley, had led the group to attack Mr. Cooper in his previous flat in Small Heath and joined in to a limited extent. He pleaded guilty to assault and was sentenced to 6 months suspended, including 35 days of rehabilitation activity and 100 hours of unpaid work. Mr. Cooper knew the defendants through working for a homeless charity and considered them friends. But things went sour when he resumed a relationship with a woman named Bethany Love. Lachlan Stewart, prosecuting, said Stephen Baker saw her like a daughter. There was also a suggestion Matthew Baker may have been in a relationship with her in the past. The group started going around calling Mr. Cooper a pedo, a rapist, a sex offender, entirely without basis. Aston also found out about the relationship when Miss Love sent him a picture of her Facebook status, prompting him to threaten to hurt Mr. Cooper, claiming he owed him money. Warleater, who was going out with Aston at the time, acted as the honeypot or honey trap. She began texting Mr. Cooper, pretending she fancied him, and arranged to meet him on October the 3rd, 2021, for some kind of sexual encounter, said the prosecutor. But when the victim arrived at 8:12 p.m, Warleater texted Aston, got him prompting Stephen Baker to turn up in his silver Mercedes. He punched Mr. Cooper and said, "Come here, you little C-word," before bundling him into the car with Warleater hopping in the passenger seat. Baker drove around the corner where his son Matthew Baker and Aston got in and immediately started beating the victim. Baker Jr. threatened to chop off Mr. Cooper's legs and cut out his tongue, while Aston pulled out a knife and put it to his throat. The group took the victim to Banborough's flat in Small Heath, where the attack intensifies, said Mr. Stewart. Baker struck Mr. Cooper to the head 3 times with a tire iron and also whacked him with a piece of wood. But after 20 minutes, Bamborough became concerned his neighbour would alert the police, so the original 4 kidnappers forced the victim back into the Mercedes and took him to a car park next to Ford Dwellings Academy in Quinton. There, they continued to beat him to the ground, with Warleater kicking Mr. Cooper in his stomach and genitals 5 times. As the Bakers and Aston laid into his ribs, the victim cried, "You're hurting me," to which Stephen Baker told him, "Good, you deserve it." Matthew Baker revelled in the violence, by sending pictures and videos of the attack to other people on social media. When one person asked what the victim had been hit with, Baker replied, "LOL, a hammer." Eventually, Mr. Cooper was once again thrown into the Mercedes and dropped off near his home, but not before Aston took his phone and bank card. He managed to stumble back to his address, but collapsed on his doorstep, where his friends found him. The victim was taken to hospital and treated for a number of injuries, including a 15-centimetre long cut to his head, which exposed his skull. All 5 defendants were arrested within a matter of days. In his statement, Mr. Cooper said he had really struggled since the attack, having had to move, home, and work for fear of running into his tormentors. He said, "What makes things worse is I thought all the people involved were my friends. It really made me not want to make more friends. When it was happening, I thought I was going to die. I never have been so scared in all my life." Rory Field, defending Matthew Baker, told the court he had a challenging mental health issue, adding he doesn't fully understand the consequences of his actions. He said, "Very unfortunately, he reached his mid-20s when this occurred and hadn't committed any offence. He's not the sort of person who does commit offences, but he is a very easily led. He is the sort of person who could have gone through life without troubling this court at all. But he was picked up by one of the most significant influences in his life. His father got in the car and things got worse thereafter." Colin McCara, defending Stephen Baker, said he was currently undergoing psychotherapy and he is now a very different man. Graham Henson, representing Aston, conceded his client made the stupid decision not to plead guilty sooner, despite never denying what he did, adding he was now in a ridiculous situation, having spent around 2.5 years in custody on remand. He told the court Aston had taken a number of courses while in prison and had reflected on his actions. The barrister said his client had a history of mental health, but had managed to go a long period without offending when he was in work. Bunty Batra, defending Wolita, submitted the incident was wholly out of character for her, adding she was an extremely vulnerable individual. He told the court it was not her idea to text Mr. Cooper, but she did so at the behest of Aston, with whom she was in an abusive relationship with at the time. The barrister added Wolita did not have the strength of character or personality to remove herself from the incident as it escalated. Omar Majid, mitigating for Bamborough, argued his role and involvement was significantly more limited than the others. He said his client was vulnerable and had mental health issues, as he told the court he had learning difficulties, autism, and a low intellectual functioning. The barrister added Bamborough was easily led and manipulated. Please like this video, please comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.